Guys, today we're going to be talking about complex patching. What would you, Kurt, I'm going to put you on the spot. I know you hate when I do this. What do you think of if I were to say, hey, show me how to do complex patching?
I'd say that's a big topic. That's a broad thing. There's a few areas when I hear that I think the first one is one-to-many. Like, how do I patch if I'm doing a one-to-many relationship and I got to do one? You got one record in the main one, and then you got many records in the other. Say, for instance, you have a customer, and you have to save that customer information because it's a new customer, and then that customer has bought 10 things, and you have to save a record for each one of those things that got saved in a different table, and you got to relate that information, those 10 things, to the customer that bought them, right? So how do you patch that? Another thing I think about in complex patching is when you're patching a specific field in a table, and it can be many different types of things that you need to put in there, or not types, but values, many different types of values. Like, for instance, maybe if it's a first time thing and I've got a discount on it, maybe it's going to be, I got to go out there and do some calculations with it as I'm patching it. Maybe I need to go over here and pull from another data source and do another lookup within that patch, So there could be something like that. Sometimes we're not patching just one value. We're patching many values into one field.
Wow.
How do you do that?
I asked you this, man. You're like a wealth of information here. Repeat that. What you just said. I don't want to lose that.
Okay, so sometimes we have to patch more than one value into one field. So how do we go about doing that?
What about the reverse?
What about the who? Reverse, yeah.
Yeah, so we got one field that wasn't normalized, right? So it's like a comma separated value or a JSON string, and you want to patch multiple. Yeah. So patch one field into many or separate.
Yeah.
This is great stuff. I really like this.
Maybe we want to patch an entire table into a field. And maybe we need to filter some data from that table before we put it in that field.
And maybe we want to do what before?
Maybe we want to filter filter the data before we put it in that table. So we're gonna put an entire table into a field, but we're gonna filter the data from that table within that.
That's great stuff. Rick, you got any thoughts on this too?
He's doing really, really good there.
What's that?
Wrap my mind to all that, but it's man, you're doing great, Kurt. Keep up.
Well,
keep it flowing, Kurt.
So Egg says more than one value into the same field. So we're going to put an entire record in a field.
Yeah,
it can be done. We could put an entire table in a field, in one field. And I think this is a really important thing that people don't talk about very much on YouTube. You only heard it here, folks. Just throwing that out there. But I'm just trying to say that imagine having a collection, because we're talking about data sources and patching data sources. Well, it could be a persistent data source such as SQL Server or Dataverse or SharePoint, but it could also be a collection in memory, right? And imagine the concept where you have one. Let's say you have a customer or a patient if you're working with a hospital type thing, and you've got many different tables out there that have related data to that customer. It could be addresses, it could be amount of visits, it could be products, it could be sales, all this. And instead of having to do lookups throughout the whole thing, when you're loading that customer information, you could go out there and get all of the many tables collected and put it right into that one record, for that customer. And you don't have to do any. Think about the speed that you're going to increase with that by doing that. We can do that, folks. We can do that. And we shall.
Keep it going, man.
And we shall. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants here. Darren asked me a question, put me on the spot. I'm going to go.
Yeah, I love that. Maybe I should always do that. I'm like, hey, Kurt, I'm going to put you on the spot. So then your turbo brain sort of spools up, and then when I pick, because sometimes I'm like, Kurt, what do you think about that? And he's like, well, I don't know.
So here's the thing. You know, we talk so much about governance and we do all these crazy, weird things that have nothing to do with. I'm not very good at that kind of stuff, right? But when it comes to data, that's my wheelhouse. So now you're talking my language when we talk about data. I loved everything about data. You know, I think data is king, isn't it? Oh no! I'm sorry, Patty. Elvis is king. I'm sorry, Patty.
You see, Pulse Prodigy said, Kurt having a blast. Haha. Jamie says, Kurt, this is amazing stuff.
Yeah. Really, I think what we need to do is take the mystery out of all of this, because this is really going to step up your Power Apps game, because it's always about data, right? It's always about it. What did I always say, Darren? Read a record, write a record, process the record. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's all we're really doing here. And if we can do that in ways that can make things fast for our Power Apps, I contend that if we do things right in Power Apps, we can keep up. We can actually out process, or at least process as fast as any of those C# people or the .NET people. We can do that. You know, I don't want to hear Power Apps as a baby language. We can make this thing sing.
Mark says this subject is perfect for a workshop.
It absolutely is.
We're going to have a workshop on this next week, Friday, 1 p.m. EST. The links are at the top. Where now this live stream is actually, it needs to be short because we have a workshop today. Normally we do them on Fridays, but today we're doing it on Saturday because yesterday we had interview a lot of folk because we're growing so much. So it took up the whole day. So I had to move the workshop to today. But next Friday, 1 p.m. EST. Whatever we don't cover here, we're definitely going to cover in the workshop and then some.
Yeah. Well, and it might even have to be more than one workshop because there's so much. This is such a big topic. Just the stuff that I listed right there. I mean, to sit down and do some in a workshop. I like the idea of coming up with a demonstration and then talking about that demonstration and then having some kind of a challenge out there for people to kind of work with it and practice with it while we're in that workshop, so that we can kind of play with that and talk about that. To me, that's a workshop, right? And so I want to do that. And in order to have the time and space to do that, what I just did right there, that could be about 3 or 4 different workshops, man, to really get it down. Because I like people, I always said this too, Darren, when I was teaching, I don't care. We don't need to teach the whole thing. Mm-hmm. What I want to do is I want to teach what I do teach. I want it to be everybody to leave with it down in their minds really well. In other words, I want us to learn this thing really good, what we do learn. We don't have to learn the whole world, but what we do learn, we want it to learn like it's the back of our hand learn. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I heard from Accelerator students today, they went through your module 3 where you go deeper than I've ever seen anything done for collections. I mean, you've got like a dozen videos, and each of those videos is probably 45 minutes to an hour and a half long. Yeah. I mean, you're showing us how to use charts and stuff. I mean, it's just material, Kurt, that you are one of my elite employees. You've been promoted.
So, by the way, scrub that window for me and take out that trash. That's
guys, that's a meme. If you go on TikTok and say CEO lady or elite employees, it is hilarious. And I think she's a comedian, but it's funny. Where was I going with that? What was I talking about? Collections. Yes, thank you. I almost want to give it the justice it deserves and actually show this because Kurt. This is what I was going to say. Kurt, you are my golden hen. Does that sound weird?
That sounds weird. That sounds almost creepy. That's borderline creepy. But Patty's over there shaking her head. Yes, she's like, oh.
Kurt, you are my golden. You lay golden eggs for me. You did it with the API custom connectors. You've done you blew me away with this. So this is available to accelerator students. Let me try to move this around so we can see everything. So you covered the basics really well, but in the collection mastery, talk about collection mastery. You knocked it out of the park. I mean, you do an overview, you do the basics, which apparently that's separate. And we got collections and data.
Yeah.
Collections as arrays.
Yeah.
What's up with that? Can you tell us what the difference between a collection and an array is? I'm almost thinking that.
So you can treat this collection as like an external data source, or you can treat it as a pocket of memory that you just kind of want to use and work with it and then dump it out, So, but when we're talking about, the difference between an array and a matrix, 2-dimensional arrays and 3-dimensional arrays, that's what I'm kind of trying to describe in here is, you've got a list, which would be like one column, and that's an array. It's an array. But then when we go into the 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional arrays, that then you actually have a matrix. And I kind of try to define that in there and try to show people how to do that in case they've never been exposed to that kind of thing yet, and really they have been, they just don't realize it. Because if you look at, you just brought up Excel, and you take an Excel spreadsheet, you got rows and columns. That's a 2-dimensional array. But if you go to the bottom and you see the little tabs down there where you can actually see which worksheet you're working with, well, each worksheet has a set of rows and columns. So now that's a 3-dimensional array. We just took that. So instead of one set of rows and columns, we have several sets of rows and columns, and we just go from 2-dimensionals to 3-dimensionals now, right? So you start with one column, that's a 1-dimensional array. Then you have rows and columns, like many columns, that's a 2-dimensional array. And then you have many sets of rows and columns, that's a 3-dimensional array. And we can take this thing all the way up to 5 dimensions if we wanted to, But that's kind of where I try to go in with that.
Very good.
You asked. Are you sorry that you asked?
No, not at all, man. You're my golden hen.
And I remember, guys, when I was doing this collection thing, I remember Darren going, "Are you ever going to get that thing done?" No, I'm not done.
Yeah, man. How many months did that take you? You created a masterpiece, and that's exactly why I hired you. I'm like, Kurt, you did something when you taught me, and you taught it in such a way. It's forever seared in my brain that is the golden standard of how to teach. And I called you up. I'm like, I was going through the ticketing system course, and I'm like, man, it just seems like people are copying and pasting my screens. Like they're just colored by number, Darren puts a gallery on the screen. I'm going to put a gallery on the screen, But what I was hoping is that as we go through all the steps, people were getting the topics, but they weren't. So I needed a golden hen to help me out. And sometimes I call you my other brain cell, which is a compliment.
Good stuff. Well, and I don't like tooting my own horn, but I did come up with today's thumbnail. I'm just saying.
You did. I had 20 different thumbnails generated by AI. You did it once, and like, what do you think of this one? I'm like, oh.
It's so funny, guys. What's so comical about it is he's over there doing this, and we're on Zoom and we're doing this together, and he just hates it being interrupted when he's in the middle of thinking about something, and I'm over here going. I create this thing. He goes, well, Kurt, are you going to comment on any of this stuff? I'm busy over here typing into Chat GPT, and he goes, are you going to comment? And then I finally start laughing. He goes, what, Kurt? I said, I got one for you. Okay. So then I send it over to him, and he looks at it. He goes, oh. I just thought it was so funny. It's like.
It is.
There's no in between with me and him. I'm either a hero or a zero. He's either about ready to fire me or I'm the greatest thing in the world. No, I'm just teasing you, man.
A coffee.
Yeah,
you can recover Kurt from his. I don't know why. I love that little clip.
You're silly.
So Lewis asked.
So what were we talking about?
Well, Lewis asks, is the Power Labs a paid version of Power Apps course? Well, I do. I should probably. I need to finish my website is what I need to do, because I get this question a lot. Like, what? I joined the membership on YouTube. aren't I a member of the accelerator? And so I just want to sort of touch maybe like 30 seconds on this. Okay. So I have a free crash course that's not on YouTube. We have personal pocket coaching, which is like a bite-sized or pocket-sized video for every day of the year. And then we got the workshops. Here's a preview of Kurt's labs and exercise. I put the full first module in here that's freely available to everyone. You can give that a try. The other offerings I have the Ultimate Jumpstart Kit. I don't like to mention prices in videos because the price can always change, right? So that's there. And if you guys have any questions on any of this stuff, send us a chat over Teams or comment below or send us an email at support@Nices. And I'm going to type that in the chat right now. support@nice.us. And if you have any complaints about anything, I want you to email Rick@Nices. And,
I'm going to use this opportunity, Darren, to throw something at you I'm going to throw you under the bus here, and I'm going to talk about something that I want to do that as an offering for us that I have not really talked to you about yet.
Okay.
And, yeah. So what I would like to do is,
put me on the spot.
Well, the reason what brings me to this is that we want to call it. This is the Power Labs. It's a laboratory and it's labs.
But it's not just the Power Labs. It's
nope.
Super Power Labs.
It's Super Power Labs. So what I want to do is I've got a whole bunch of ideas for labs that I want to do. And I want to create a collection of labs and put it out there with just labs and just allow people to have the labs out there to practice and to learn from, and have an entire collection of labs that would just be nothing but labs.
And I'd like that for the accelerator students. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna put you on the spot. Let's say you've done 20 or 30 of them.
Yeah.
It takes one step at a time. And there's no video material. It's just labs.
Right. Yeah.
And when you finish the 15th one, now I feel like you're ready to take on paid work. Yeah. Now this isn't something that I guarantee to the accelerator students because I'm not in a place to guarantee that. But my idea, my long-term goal is as I get a lot of freelance gigs, I turn most of them down, and then sometimes I'll give Kurt one or something, somewhere. I'd like to provide paid freelancing gigs on a silver platter to the accelerator students. And Absolutely. That would be a perk of being in the accelerator program. So this Super Power Labs, the Super Power Labs, that is that's the name of our organization, Doing Business As. Now, I really haven't announced that yet, but I can't use Power Apps Tutorial as the business name. And I've used it as a YouTube channel name, but I can't be using a trademark name for Microsoft as my business name, like Power Apps Tutorial. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So and we're going to probably announce that maybe May 1st and what all that includes. And the website will probably be done by May 1st of this year. And then, and of course, my mind goes blank.
This is good stuff, Darren. This is really good stuff that, the whole topic and stuff. And I was just kind of wondering what people thought about it. Sammy says, sign me up, coach. Sammy, he's an accelerator student and as is Patty, and Mark. Yeah. You guys have access to all that stuff. It's coming.
Yeah. And if you guys are interested in that, just send us an email at support@Nices. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it really easy for everyone. And I am going to show our email address at the top. So that at the top, that's a link to our school community. That's a free community. And that's where the free crash course is at. Now I'm going to bring up a different overlay that's going to look exactly the same, but it's not. In 3, 2, 1. There we go. Now you notice the tiny URL. That URL up there is different. If you're interested in the accelerator, that's the link that you'll want to click on, and we will talk with you. And we don't accept everybody in the accelerator program. It is a thing that we meet with you on. We want to ask about what your goals are, and You know what I mean? So,
book a call with us and have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. If you're interested in any of these things that we're talking about here today, book a call with myself and Darren, and let's just sit down and talk about what's right for you. Let's figure it out.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also, I see some people, guys, you probably see a button right below this YouTube video that says join. And that's a YouTube membership. So I see that we actually had 2 people sign up today. And so from I'm going to try to pronounce his name. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Hamam Atsu.
Hamamatsu?
Yeah. And then right after that, we had one for Arturo, received a membership. Okay, so the first gifted it to the second person. So if you guys sign up for any level of membership, so I think there's one for $2.99, which I call giving back. It's just, I don't know, if you wanted to buy me a cup of coffee, I don't think you could buy a cup of coffee for $2.99. Maybe a cheap one at a gas station, and I'll take it. I appreciate that, and I do have perks for each of the 3 levels, and then it just gets better as far up you go. But if you guys sign up for any of the membership, feel free to message us, email. See that email address at the very top, support@Nices. Give us an email if you've signed up, and we'll send you a link to book a call with us, to like a 15-minute tutoring call. Like, let's say you've been banging your head against the wall for like the last 2 weeks or the last 2 months on something simple. I hear that so many times, Kurt, when we meet with somebody one-on-one, and or somebody comes to me on Fiverr and books a whole hour with us just for one-on-one tutoring. And within the first 5 or 10 minutes, like, okay, this is what you needed to do. And that fixes your problem. They're like,
yeah.
And they almost start crying. It's like, you know how long I've been working. I know that frustration. I learned Power Apps, but every time I try to learn, I've learned a lot of new stuff over the course of 25 years in the IT industry. And I hate that feeling when you're first starting out. But you gotta hold on to the notion that the longer you stick with it, the easier it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Joining any of those memberships entitles you to a 15-minute tutoring call. So just email us, and we'll get that thing booked for you, and maybe we can help you out with whatever. Or if you just want to chat with us, that's completely fine too. So I've got, let's scroll down the bottom. I'm looking forward to seeing the website. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I just kind of want to say that's something that Darren and I both share in, and I think that's why we work so well together, is because we have a lot of the same values. We don't have a lot of time, but if we have any spare time and it's open, you'll see that if you have a Calendly look. If you go to book a call with us, you'll see a Calendly link, and it checks our schedules to see if we have any free time, and then you can pick from that free time. And we love to talk to people and meet people that are dealing with this Power App struggle like we have. We just love that. And we like empowering people, and we just like talking to people. You go to other places, you might have offerings all over the place, but it's hard to get the people to talk to you one-on-one. And that's what Darren and I love to know. We like that more than we actually like doing the programming. We like talking to people, and meeting people. We believe that the learning deal is more of a mentorship. It's a relationship. We do that with our business. When it comes to business, like if we're writing programs for people, it's about the relationships. It's not about the program. It's about what happens after we write the program. What's going to happen next. We worry about what's going to happen next in a person's life and in an organization after we get done writing the program. Because see, the thing of it is when you're done writing a program, if you do a good job, that means you're going to get more work. Good work always equals more work. And so what happens is you build a relationship with people, you build trust. And now it's more about, now you're going to write that program. And if you have a problem in that program, they trust you that you're going to try to fix it, and you're going to do your best for them. And so people work like they like to work like that, and people like to learn like that. It's the same way with learning. And so I've always believed that, and Darren believes that. So we really like talking to people and building the relationship with people. Patty's been with us now for a year, and or close to anyway. And
Almost.
I plan on, we're going to be talking to Patty years to come after this, because we've built a relationship, with that. So you're a perfect example. You were sitting here and I thought I'd use you there, Patty. But
well, she gave us some really good feedback this week, and I don't remember which one of the 3 group calls we had, but I remember you, Patty. You said something that I was like, Patty, can I use that in my marketing material?
oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I think it was Wednesday. Yeah, I think it was Wednesday.
And what was your phrasing on that when I asked that? Because it was like really good stuff.
It was, I've taken everything that I've learned, and I'm going back to my old applications and applying everything that I've learned to those old applications, and I'm rebuilding them. And the biggest one that I have done so far, I have completely overhauled it with everything I've learned, and I'm going to roll it out in about 2 weeks.
Isn't that cool? So basically you were out there struggling with YouTube, and you were writing this program and getting everything done. And then you ran into Accelerator and said, okay, let me try it their way once. And you've been learning this stuff, and you did, you've gone through all the lab material, or much of it anyway. You struggled with that bouncing ball, you struggled with that stuff, man. And so you took the concepts and you said, okay, I'm going to try it their way once, and you redid it. And now your program is way stronger now, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It doesn't work perfectly, but it works.
Well, I think I read.
I'm talking about the bouncing ball.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about your program. Okay.
Oh, no.
Well, we tried it your way, and it doesn't work perfectly, but it works.
Yeah.
I've got to share with you guys that this bouncing ball thing has taken on a life of its own.
It really has.
I'm about to do something, and I might need to mute Kurt just for a moment because he's going to be really upset with me. Kurt, I'm going to bring you back on. Okay, what I'm going to do for you guys, I'm going to give you a free gift. Are you ready for this? And I'm going to go find the personal pocket coaching, which, by the way, has 1.2K views on all the video there. And also Kurt tells me he's got some really exciting, like 3 to 5 videos that he's about to release in that. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm about to do something that Kurt is going to start yelling at me, and that's why I've muted him. There is the bouncing ball.
Oh my God.
How do you feel about that, Kurt? Kurt, you're my golden hen, and I like to
why can't I be the golden rooster? Why this is golden hen?
Well, Kurt, roosters lay golden eggs. Do roosters lay eggs? Yes or no?
No, they don't. They don't. That's a good point. But
So guys, there's the bouncing ball, and guys, let me see how many views this thing has. It is by far.
I don't see it, Darren. Do you see it?
Guys? Oh, okay.
It went away.
It went away. Okay, so I'm going to bring it back up here. It is the most played video out of the personal pocket coaching. Okay.
Yeah, that bouncing ball is so funny. That was actually something I did. We were doing the second lab, and I was on a Saturday morning, and I had a little time, and I said, well, I just don't feel like I put enough into that lab. Let's give them a little bit more of a challenge. I'm going to throw this little bouncing ball up there. And I spent an hour or so on that, getting it nice. And I put it out there, and I thought, people are going to go poo-poo, because really you think about it. I'm here to.
What is poo? Somebody poo-poo something. What does that mean?
It just means, they didn't like it, poo-poo, it's like they didn't like it. I don't want to poo-poo
it. Sounds smelly to me.
It's smelly. I don't like it. It's stinky. I don't like it. Right. So I did, I thought people, because oftentimes people poo-poo things like that. Because they're like, well, I'm here to learn data. I'm not here to learn how to do a bouncing ball. I'm not here to learn how to play games. I'm not a video game programmer, blah, blah, But the thing of it is, as a teacher, as somebody who's trying to teach, I did that bouncing ball back when Darren was was doing the class, and I threw that in there as a little thing. That's a big deal. You guys, if you know how to control that bouncing ball, think of and I'm all about controlling. If I can't teach people anything else,
control freak. He's a control freak, guys.
Yeah. If I can't teach you anything, you can't control anything in life. That's what I've learned. I'm a control freak. I've been trying to control everything, and the only thing that's out of control in my life is me. Right. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to control me now and not worry so much about everything else. Right. But the thing of it is, what I've learned in life is that you don't have control over anything, except maybe as a programmer, you could control your program. If you can control your program, you think about this. You have this. It's called Beat the Beast. The game is called Beat the Beast. You have all these electronics sitting out there with all this power, and it's just you turn it on and it goes blah power. Yeah, blah. You know. So what you want to do is you want to take all that power and harness it into doing one thing, one time, perfectly. And you take that power and then you learn how to do that one time perfectly, and you learn how to repeat it. Now you have the game of Beat the Beast. You won. You won. The beast is the computer. The game is you beating that beast of those electronics. And so you take that power. Now, if you got that bouncing ball and you can control that bouncing ball, where it's going to go, when it's going to go, and how it's going to go, you can control anything. As a programmer, it's about a mindset of controlling that program, learning how to do things in a very efficient way, learning how to do things in a way that's not going to be repeating in speed. And so you learn these things through that bouncing ball. If you can do the bouncing ball, you can make that data bounce too. And it's all about that in the end. So it makes you a better programmer. If you guys watch Karate Kid and you remember Mr. Miyagi, I don't look anything like Mr. Miyagi, you know, but I like his mindset. If that kid, it's all about muscle memory. And that kid, he was teaching wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. It's things like that bouncing ball. We have a student, Mark Cloak. He said, I need more practice because he needs to build the muscle memory. He went through the lab, but he needs muscle memory. And things like that, bouncing ball is that. Anyway, I said all that to say, so I threw this bouncing ball thing in there, thinking, we'll give him a little something to chew on. And boy, let me tell you, man, it's just been the hardest thing. It's like the rest of the lab didn't matter. It's about the bouncing ball now. You know?
Oh, I know what it is. It's golden goose. You're my golden goose. That's what.
Okay.
That's the phrase that seems to be known more.
Well, you know, I could be no. It's always the hands that lay the eggs.
It's weird here, guys.
It's really weird. It's just weird. And anyway, so with the PPC, personal pocket coaching, I did this video was an attempt to try to help some of my accelerator students, give them some hints on how to solve this thing because they were struggling with it.
So there's the golden egg that my golden goose laid right there. Do you see that?
Yep, there it is.
So if you want to, just for that formula right there, you might know how to have a bouncing ball. And his labs that did the animation back in 1998, certainly the foundation for the stuff that I still do today in power ups, positioning things dynamically, all kinds of stuff. So
yeah,
if somebody says, why would I want to learn that?
Boss fight music. Ike over here. Here's boss fight music. Oh, that's funny.
But this these type of topics that don't seem like with the Master Miyagi, he would say wax on, wax off, and Daniel's getting frustrated. He's like, I don't want to know how to hammer or paint a fence or wax the car, but there's a purpose. And when you hear
people pay big money for this.
When you hear him say that, perk up. And so a lot of times I have to say it for him because he doesn't say it anymore. So, so let's get back to complex patching. What else?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I don't want to upset. So guys, I gave you the bouncing ball video, huge value. So at least you got that, right? If we didn't answer all your topics about complex patching, listen, we're going to cover all this and more in the workshop this Friday. And What was I trying to do?
Well, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Look, if you guys like that, the bouncing ball stuff, the PPC, that is just a great value right there. You know,
Absolutely.
so if you don't have PPC, I don't know why, because it gives you an entire reference of videos that specifically address a topic. What a great thing. You know, even if you're an accelerator student, it's a good thing. Go ahead, Darren.
Yeah, at the end, I mean, most people buy it for the full year because I give a lot of free things out of it too. Or I shouldn't say free, I should just say bonus. You get the ticketing system course that is selling for a lot more than what we're selling the PPC for. You get that as a bonus. You also get my Jumpstart kit as a bonus. So it's a really good deal. I almost want to go over to school and show you the link for that, but I don't want to stray too far from the complex patching that we're discussing today. I don't want this to be a commercial or anything, but yeah. All right, patches. And I think that might be Matt. Do you think, Kurt? H? Are you Matt? I think it is.
Could be.
So really anybody in the comments, Patty, Kurt, Rick, let's think of some other complex patching type of stuff that like I put in here. Let me see. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this thing itself. I'm gonna cut that, and I feel like it should be its own thing because there's a lot of stuff we need to add to this. Okay, so complex field types. Now, did I just hear you exhale? You did sigh?
Yeah, I had a project. I'm on a project right now that just had a whole bunch of complex field types that I had to deal with, and it was so painful.
Well, tell me a little bit more of that. So they use lookup columns. Like, can you tell me like a general amount of how many lookup columns they had?
It wasn't lookup columns, was it? It was choice.
Choice. That's what I meant.
Choice, yeah.
I want to put that
in. Maybe 30 or 40 in one table. And every one of those they're all basically a choice is an enumerated set that you just can't get to by using numbers like normal life would be. You have to go through and check each enumeration and then convert it into something that what I do is I converted it into a simple text, simple type. So I take that complex type, which is an enumerated type, and that means, for people that don't know what that means, it means it's a set that's inside of a type. So let's say you have a field, instead of having a text saying my name, like let's say you have employee names, and you have a list of 10 employees. Instead of having a list of 10 employees to pick from, you have the entire list sitting there, and you have to check, is it this name? Is it that name? Is it the next name? So for each 10, you have to check it for each 10 of those. Put an if condition, and then convert that name into a text field, text with quotes. It's painful. It's very painful.
Yeah. So a lot of projects we get, guys, are a project that somebody started and like, hey, can you help figure all this out? We got to go in and rip things out, redo it, because it wasn't created properly at the beginning, at the get-go. When all these things that we normally do in the initiation, the planning, design phase, right, Kurt?
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, but this is a good topic because you're going to run into this. You're going to run into having to deal with these complex types like these choice fields. And when I ran into it, I didn't know, did I, Darren? I'm like, how the heck do I do this? And you actually had to spend some time trying to figure some of it out. And we actually had to work through it, right? Because every choice field does something differently a little bit. Even with Darren and his expert level power apps, he had to sit there and scratch his head for a few minutes on it. So this is a good idea, maybe, because I don't think there's a lot of coverage out there in the world when it comes to dealing with these choice fields.
There's not.
Yep. So
something I would say is this is sort of like forms for me. I don't recommend people use forms. and I don't recommend people use choice columns, but you should understand how to work with them because you might take over somebody's project and you might have to clean something up. Or it's like, I'm just going to go with this huge form they've created and just tweak it here and there. But
you're right there. You're
yeah.
Right. Because I don't like choices, so I never use them. So I ran into that, and I'm like, oh crap, Darren, I can't continue in this project because I don't know what I'm doing. And there's literally nothing out there, like Patty just said. There's nothing really out there about how to address that. So it's good to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And could you imagine, like, we recommend that you don't use forms either, but could you imagine you applying for a job and like, okay, we're going to hire you. Here's the first project. The last guy did it, and he's no longer with us. He wasn't a good Power Apps developer, but we know that you are because Darren changed you. No, but can you imagine them like, yeah, so, and you're like, what's that? And you're like, oh, it's forms. You got, 50 screens or something, and there's like a form on every single one, and you don't know how to work with it. They're going to like, I thought you said you knew Power Apps. Forms is, you know what I mean? So it's like you really should know forms, even though you may not.
I know, and you guys are, especially you guys are an accelerator. You guys know I absolutely can't stand working with forms to a point where I haven't a clue. If you guys come into these group calls at Accelerator and you bring a problem in forms, I'm like, nope, Darren, I don't know what I'm doing.
I actually see you lean back and just start playing on your phone. Which infuriates me, by the way.
That's so funny. No, I've got it. That's a good point though. Just like that choice thing I ran into, you got to learn how to do that, even if you don't like doing it, Yeah.
So I want to hear more ideas of what we like complex types. Give me some more things here that may not be straightforward in knowing how to patch, maybe files. So it's different.
There's something you do too that I still don't really have down. It's kind of like some kung fu magic stuff you do when you're working with collections and going back and forth. You just said it to somebody the other day in Accelerator. You were saying, well, you bring your data into a collection, you send it back out in an update and you do an update and you only update the fields. Do you remember that conversation?
Yes.
That entire process, step by step. I mean, if we don't do anything else in that workshop, that needs to be done because I don't know how to do it. I got to learn how to do that.
Yeah, this is one of the things that, hey, people pay big money for this. This is bulk patching. And I've got this little formula I've come up with, and I sort of got the basis, or I was sitting in the right direction by Matthew Devaney's blog, which is my favorite blog, by the way. So I took his idea of doing a mass, patch on a collection, but there's a few other things I add to it, and it just like magic is, yeah. So.
I love it, and it's kung fu. I don't know. I'd be like this guy trying to beat up Darren, and he'd come at me with all this update stuff, and I'm like, whoa, what did you just do there? So I want to attend that workshop. I need to know how to do that.
You're my golden hen here. I want you to run it.
I can't run that part. So when it comes, hey, by the way, Mahjong is my favorite. I don't know if you knew that, but Mahjong is my favorite. I would rather play Mahjong than just about anything.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, H. Rather play Mahjong rather than learning forms. Yeah. So let me guess, H. The whole H thing comes from maybe a gamer tag or something. Is that a lucky guess? Yeah, I'm going to show all my tricks on how I do this. I'm going to update these show notes. I'm going to send you guys a link to Matt's blog where I got it from. I want to give him credit for that. And I'm going to say to do Darren. I want to make sure I provide that. So you guys can get it all these show notes with the link that I provided before. And then I'm going to highlight that. So
it's a great thing. guys, if we can only get a third of the stuff that we just talked about here in that done in that workshop, you're going to come back. Your game is going to be stepped up to a whole nother level with Power Apps. If we could just get a third of this list done.
Absolutely.
There's one thing that I've struggled with, Darren, and I don't know if it's even possible, but patching links between a document between a file and a document library back to a SharePoint list. I've been able to do it with a flow, but I don't know if we can do it with a patch.
Okay, repeat the like the one phrase in the middle. Patching between, you said, documents.
A link.
A link. Yeah.
Yes, patching a link to a file in a document library from a SharePoint list.
Documents. So the documents inside of a SharePoint list, but you need to patch the link to that document that's in a document library to a different list, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I was able to do it with a flow, but it was reversed. I couldn't get the link in the line item in the SharePoint list, but I was able to do it in the document library, which was what I was trying to do the exact opposite, but I could not make it work with the flow.
You know what? I'm also going to put in here patching the document library. Kurt, you know how to do that?
Sort of.
Oh, okay.
Sort of. Oh, wait a minute. I know how to patch to a document library, but an entire library, I don't know.
No, yeah. What I'm talking about is pretty much you can pull in a document library as if it was just a regular SharePoint list, right? It's going to have an ID, it's going to have a created by, all that type of stuff that a SharePoint list has. But the default thing that's in there is just one file. If you're going to do any type of, saving files persistently, I do not use the attachments field in a SharePoint list. No bueno, not good, never do it. What you want to do is, and if you have many, I remember we did a video, maybe it was a live stream or maybe it was just an accelerator video that I did where Daisy with her app with photos of cars. You had one car, but she had many photos. So what you have in the document library, you just create a column because it's pretty much a SharePoint list, right? You have a column in there that points back to that single record over here in the SharePoint list.
Just a simple one of many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never use the attachments.
Never use it. Ever, 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 ever.
I have a lot of users want to patch an Excel table to a table from my app. Okay. Something might like to cover is performing batch imports from an Excel spreadsheet. I don't recommend using Excel as a data source, but it's okay to use it if you're just going to do a one-time import, or maybe, a batch import. Maybe you get a new Excel spreadsheet every week or something like that, And he says, I mean a patch to my Dataverse table. Yeah. And Dataverse has a file type that's not as good as a SharePoint document library. Are you about to say something?
I was just getting ready to talk about that. You just comment on what you just said there. So you were talking about taking Excel as like maybe it's a weekly report that comes out in Excel, right? And you need to take that data from that report and put it into your Dataverse, right? Or use it in your report somewhere. Yeah. That's something that I'm going to have to be doing in a project that I'm going to be coming up, and I'm going to have to know how to do that, Darren. So that's a good idea. That's a really good idea to really cover that very thoroughly.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, if you have any more ideas on anything that you want to know that is surrounding complex patching, okay, let us know. We're definitely going to cover it. Our workshops are usually I always say 3 hours, but man, we just have so much fun. We just sort of keep on going. Sometimes it's 4 hours. maybe 4.5. And if you have to drop too long or whatever, of course you're going to get the replay and everything, right? So what I want to show you guys, so guys, we actually have a workshop now. The workshop on complex patching will be next Friday, but we're having a workshop in almost 1 hour from now, or 53 minutes from now, and I at least want to talk briefly about it. Okay. And it's the live stream that we had just last week. Am I right on that, Kurt? Or am I
think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
So go to this link and register. It's going to start at noon EST. And let us know, and we can always come back. Like if you don't want to, sign up for a workshop, that is completely fine. I understand. This could be a topic that we could, sort of trickle out in the future. And be like a little snippet here and there, might end up being a YouTube video. So what do you think about that, Kurt?
I just think people should come to these workshops. So I really think that you get a lot out of it. It's more hands-on. I think it's just better. It's just better. Yeah. I don't know how to explain it.
I guess there's one thing I should share. I feel like if I didn't share this, it would be tragic. All right. So, in the Learn Power Apps school environment, I usually have a post at the very top on whatever's going on with workshops, and I invite people to fill out an MS form. Okay. And I actually, in this form, I actually ask on the price points, like, hey, if $47 is too much for like a 3 to 4 hour workshop, like tell me the price point that does make sense. And maybe, I'll take that into consideration in the future. I did a survey before, and a lot of people said that 47, they'd gladly do that if more. But I sort of want to price it to a point where everybody can get in, and money isn't like a determining factor. Like I can't go in because I have to save up for it or something. I know the economy in other countries is different than here in the U.S., but I've got 4 options to save you as much as possible. So you got $25 that you can get the on-demand version, okay, for that amount. If you want a membership for the on-demand stuff, $97. If you just want unlimited, you want them all, whatever, then that's a monthly membership, and you can cancel at any time. Just wanted to throw that out there, okay? And this is a previous poll that I did, and you see, so we've done collections, we've done freelancing, we're about to do UI UX design today in about an hour. And look at this. The next one was complex patching. So this is a popular topic that we might, perhaps we might have a series or something. Just thinking out loud, of course. So, yeah. What you think about that, Kurt? Patty?
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Yeah. I sign up for almost every one of them.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to say it's not almost. I think every one of them, Patty.
I think so. I think the only one I'm not going to be in is today because we've got to go somewhere. But I will definitely be there next Friday for the complex patching. Definitely.
Very cool.
All right. I've got a little. I created a commercial for you guys. You ready for this?
Anything helpful out of this, a comment or even a like really helps the channel, and lets people like you know this is good content. Much appreciated.
Now, I've got a question. Did you guys actually see that video?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I just saw, you see the white stuff that's the background for this live stream? I saw that the whole time. So hopefully everybody saw that. So it's like, it's sort of weird that it does that to me. And each says that be with family. Okay, very good. And so there's always the replay, right? Mm-hmm. So, guys, I'm thinking the burning question in your mind right now is, what video should I watch next? Well, I've got a video on the screen maybe not live, but on demand. And I've also got a playlist on the other side of the screen right now, as you can see, that I've picked for you based on this associated content. Yeah.
Got the power, Darren? Who's got the power?